Only one kid in history had ever attempted what Benny was about to. And he got eaten. So we were worried. Real worried. Even when Benny brought out the secret weapon. Shoes guaranteed to make a kid run faster and jump higher. PF Flyers.
Can't let him do this, man.
Okay, welcome in, Slate Laced gang. This is an emergency episode. It's all Slate Laced sports, so tap it now.
Okay.
We had a heavy duty trade go through that sent Jordan Poole to the Washington Wizards.
Okay.
And the Golden State Warriors acquired none other than Mr. Christopher Paul. So I have since come down from my anger, emotions, and whatnot. But just straight up, we'll dialogue a little bit about it, but I don't like the trade. First off, Blair, you feel the trade or what?
So I'm trying to be honest here with how I'm feeling with things and what I currently feel like, and I've been saying to a couple of my friends, and I'm not saying this is true, right? It's just how I feel. The way that I see things going is I think that teams are looking at how well the Lakers actually did with the team that they had, and then they're seeing that they need to get better as well because the Lakers are looking to reload. And players that the Lakers were going after are now getting pulled, right? So the Lakers were like the number one destination, it seemed like, for over a week for Chris Paul. Chris Paul to the Lakers. Watch, it's going to happen. The Lakers need Chris Paul. Why Chris Paul and the Lakers will work, right? Why Chris Paul will be able to get AD the ball and LeBron the ball and everyone else the ball and be this like ultimate facilitator, right? And then all of a sudden it was like Warriors got Chris Paul. I'm just like, dang, are you serious? Like, our team's kind of like that scared of the Lakers and what they potentially can do that they're pulling people from them.
Y'all can have them.
And also, but here's the thing, right? So I don't think it necessarily works for you guys, but it can work for you guys. But for the longest time, because the relationship went sour between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, really, and everyone, right? They had to get rid of somebody. And because, Draymond has 4 rings, 4 always trumps 1. So they got rid of him, right? And then that relieves, well, I mean, they're still on the hook for paying him, I think, but you're dumping a big portion of that contract that you signed.
They freed up cap space.
That you signed Jordan Poole to. It's crazy to think, though, that even at this point in time in Chris Paul's career, that he could get traded for someone that is 13 years younger than him, right? Like almost like a straight up deal. That was kind of crazy. I was like, dang, a 38-year-old for like a 24-year-old? What? I mean, sure, go for it. But I think that it'll be solid for you guys, though, in the sense of, even though I didn't like the trade, that Chris Paul will now be able to get everyone the ball. And Steph can, like, literally just be, a Kenyan and run around and come off of screens and get shots and doesn't necessarily have to have the ball in his hands to do so, right? And Chris Paul will be able to get everyone else open looks as well.
Straight up, this is not going to work. I don't know what the thought process was.
Why not?
I'm coming from it as like a perspective of a Warriors faithful. Like, we are an up-tempo team. We're running the floor. Chris Paul can no longer run. He's injured every postseason. So what he's going to do, play 12 games for us and then sit out the whole playoffs?
No.
Well, great. Play 12 games and then sit down and let us take over, because I don't really like this trade at all. I know I was one of the main ones sitting on here riding Jordan Poole during the playoffs. But I never said let him go. We were literally sitting here and I was talking about how I've seen his trainers and I know he was going to go back to work. I know he took like the shame, the guilt, or whatever he had, and the heart or whatever, like how everyone was harping on him this postseason. I know he took that to heart and he was going to work and come back that much stronger. So this is kind of weird for me. I'm just like, I don't know why we didn't just let it play out. I understand that contracts are up. We got Clay on the hook. We got to sign him to something. Draymond opted out, so now we got to get him back and all those things Draymond does for us. But honestly, I would rather ran it back with what we had than trade for Chris Paul. And let me remind you a little bit of history. The Warriors fans, including and Steph Curry himself, don't even really like this man. Like, let's not forget all the when he kicked us off the court in the Houston series. Chris Paul did that. Steph was trying to get some extra shots up. Chris Paul put it into it. Let's not forget when Chris Paul fake laughed at Steve Kerr, that viral video. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget when Chris Paul was shimmying in Steph's face when he hit 1-3, and then we went on and took that serious. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget when Steph this year literally said it's not 24 no more, referring to an incident with Chris Paul. So why all of a sudden are we now forcing this man to be teammates with Chris? Now, I know they gave Steph a heads up. They're not going to run nothing, like, just do this behind his back. They ran it through him. But I'm just saying, now you're forcing this bad blood. Like, nah, get him up out of here. Let's not also forget that there's this thing as the Chris Paul curse. Why are we bringing this to my organization? Steph's got about 2 to 3 good years left. Because I do think, he's getting a little bit better. Especially last year, he took another step. But now we bringing this man over here to potentially end what we've just kind of started. They're like, we're adding to the dynasty. I don't see how we won this trade. We lost. And then one thing is, like, honestly, if I'm being truthful, I think this is a little bit of a stain on the Warriors organization letting Poole go in the fashion they did. Because we always talk about this Warriors culture, right? Similar to that Heat culture we talk about. We talk about, the dynasty. But they let him go after he was a victim, after he got punched in the face, and then kept Draymond. But we stuck beside Draymond for how many times? This man literally cost us a ring. Let's not act like that didn't happen. Draymond is the reason why we don't have 5 right now. Draymond punched people in the face. Draymond gets fines every other day. He yells at refs. And we come out and Bob Myers, RIP to Bob Myers, is not dead, but he left the organization. But Bob Myers trots out and takes the bullet for him. That's our guy. We're going to stand beside him. Steve Kerr does the same thing. That's Draymond, but that's why we need him. Then what happened to Poole? Y'all couldn't do the same for Poole? We couldn't stick up for Poole? I really hope that he got a call from each and every one of the players in the organizations and Steve Kerr, and they let him know, like, what he really did for us. Because let's not forget that half court shot that he hit at the end of the second half to put us back down by 1 against the Celtics series, and that pretty much swung the whole series, and we won from there. Like, he had key momentum shifting moments in the playoffs like 2 years ago or a year ago that helped us win. Like, let's not forget what he meant to this organization. So I really hope he got a phone call. I hope they didn't do him dirty. I know we always hear this NBA is a business thing, but excuse me, I really hope that they did tell him how much he meant to the organization. Because to me, this is like a little bit of a stain on the Warriors' reputation here for all the greatness that we do and how we like to develop the young guys. We kind of shipped them up the river for doing what? Maybe talking trash to Draymond and then getting punched in the face. There is one video of Poole going at it with an assistant coach. So what? He can't get frustrated? Draymond get frustrated every single day. Every single game. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, I understand what Draymond's done for years and years and years, and he is that vet. But it's like, dang, he didn't even really make a mistake. He just had a bad postseason, now he got to go? I don't know. I just expected a little bit more from the Warriors, and this trade is a joke to me. I don't understand what Chris Paul is going to do for us. Okay, he's going to slow it down and set it up. Great. What happens when we play the Sacramento Kings again, which is very likely to happen? He can't run. What was the main thing they said in that Kings series? Pace of play. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe he'll be injured by then. But where is he going to do? We were literally taking the ball out the net, outletting, and just up the floor. He can't hang. Literally, Steph talks about conditioning being his superpower. I hope Chris Paul's getting to work right now and starting to run some laps, because I don't understand what he's going to do for us. Yeah, okay, it moves Steph off the ball. Draymond already does that. Next question, next example. I don't see it. I don't like it. He brought his raggedy curse over here to us. We don't like this man. He's got a bad attitude. He's not a good teammate. JJ Redick sits there on every podcast with a former player or a former teammate of Chris Paul and says how Chris Paul was the worst teammate he's ever had. He likes him as a person, but he's never gotten in so many fights with teammates than he did with Chris Paul. He says Chris Paul's an a-hole straight up, and it comes from his passion to win, but he also don't win. And that's the reality of it. He's not a winner, and we brought him over here for what, a veteran presence? We're one of the oldest teams in the league. What more veterans do we need? We don't got that many young guys, and the one we did, you just shipped them off. So, yeah, I'm very frustrated. I mean, I don't like this trade. I don't even like how the Warriors is coming out. Like, if it wasn't really for Steph, Clay, Wiggs, maybe, Dre, day-to-day Dre, it would be hard to be kind of rooting for the Warriors because Chris Paul is that bad to me, and I'm sorry. He might be a great guy as a human and a great father, perfect, but get him out of my team.
Okay, so a couple things. I think partially why the reason that Jordan Poole is gone is shot selection. And yes, last year he did a lot for you guys. But clearly this offseason, he didn't work on this game the way he should have, right? So he did not ascend any more than he should have, right? Like he basically hit that sophomore wall when realistically it usually happens, but right, he was supposed to be taking another step forward where, you would see more signs of greatness, right? Because it was all about, like you just said, the Warriors' future, right? And developing the young guys. The problem is that when you have guys that are taking 35-foot shots, that are ill-advised, 20 seconds left into the shot clock, and you guys are down, 2, with like a minute to go and he's taking shots like that, it's a little bit difficult to really kind of get behind. And I think so for you guys had just reached that point where like you've seen Steph was visibly frustrated where he's chucked the mouthpiece and got ejected. You got the Lakers-Warriors series where he shot that shot, which was beautiful, by the way, if you're a Lakers fan, right? And then you got people then turning around and they're trying to defend him, in the press conference. But the point being is that at this point in time, like even the way Stephen A would say is just that he was a liability to you guys, right? And is there a very good chance that he was going to get better? I do think so. And I believe that this is not the end of Jordan Poole, but I just think that the way your team runs and operates, you don't need another loose cannon, right? Steph has unlimited range. Clay has unlimited range. And you don't need Jordan Poole also having unlimited range. And realistically, you have 3 guys that are kind of playing the same position. I mean, obviously, Steph usually has the ball most of the time. But the point being is that you have 3 guys that just chuck up shots. And I'm not saying chuck them up like because they can't shoot, but that's just literally what they do. They just shoot. And so I think that the way they look at it now is like now you get another guy that's like Chris Paul. And maybe now, you don't have to necessarily worry about that as much as you have 2 guys that are going to shoot. And now you have a guy that's really going to facilitate and really pass guys open, right? And, maybe, now Chris Paul will be getting 12 to 15 assists a game with your guys. I'm curious to see what the future is and what it's going to hold. Maybe because everyone is getting older, they go, well, maybe if we go Chris Paul, we don't go run and gun anymore. Maybe we do slow it down and play a little bit of half-court offense. I don't know. But, you harp on the injury-prone Chris Paul. And although that is true, I'm wondering now that because your team is talented enough that, you guys can kind of rest Paul and just make sure that he is ready for postseason, right? So Chris Paul can play, maybe 55 games this upcoming season, and then the minutes are limited, right? He'll come in and start, and then, he'll play extended minutes here and there. But then when, it's, once the game is kind of in hand or something like that, you sit him down, right? So then when he's coming into postseason, he's not out of gas. So that, when someone runs into his knee, it's a severe injury. But when you're not out of gas and someone runs into your knee, it's just a stinger and then, you're good to go. So, I don't necessarily wish the worst, but I also don't wish the best for you guys just because we still got to see you guys a gang of times this season. And you guys took him from us. This is the second time he was supposed to go to the Lakers and it didn't happen. First time way back when with Kobe, when the trade was denied, back when the league would hate and didn't allow things like that. But, I really am curious, but I also don't necessarily agree with you. But also, you're a Warriors fan, right? So it's going to be much different. The way you're going to see it is much different. But I think that also, this is a thing that Jordan Poole needs, right? Because now you have so much outer motivation. You have all this, like, I have to prove people wrong. But then now you also just get to go and play on a bad team 82 games a year, right? So now, you get to go out there and you get to score 25 to 30 a game, right? And not have to really worry about games being competitive. And then if you really look at it, you've already reached the pinnacle in the sense of winning a title, right? That's everyone's goal. And he's already knocked that off. So now he just gets to go, okay, I get to go score 30 a night, shoot from wherever I want. No, I'm not getting benched. No, I can't get in trouble. I get to look at all the hot girls on the sideline. What's the little thing they always do with them? They always show clips where he sees like a hot girl and all of a sudden he starts playing well. So he gets to start doing all of that stuff now, and there's no real, you don't got to rein him in, because it's like you guys are clearly playing for a lottery pick every single year. So whatever he does doesn't necessarily matter. They're not really in any game to win. They're going to win 15, 17 games at best. Yeah.
I mean, this is a fresh start for Poole, so that's great. But to me, it doesn't make sense. He had one bad postseason. That's the way I'm looking at it. Like, yeah, we've had several bad years since the We Believe team as a Warriors organization. Like, I don't know. For a team that, like, I actually listened to all the press conferences and listened to what the upper office really preaches. And it's all about development and how they have this different elevated state of mind than every other organization. But I also do think that they are shelling out to win for Steph right now while they can. Mm-hmm. That Steph's brought so much to the organization, they owe him a couple rings. And I get that. But, I mean, do I necessarily... I just can't get behind this trade. I know, Paul...
Is 4 not sufficient?
I know... I mean, apparently they keep making moves. They want him to get 5, 6, 7. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, it's a great career. And I mean, however many years he has left, he's still going to be on that, top whatever list. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, why not get more if you can, Yeah. So I don't care. But I mean, I don't really think of things in terms of rings. Mm-hmm. But I know that that's what the organization is doing. And that's great. But I just cannot get behind this move. To me, the whole was more about getting a big man. I don't understand. That was the main thing. We had 0 rim protection. That's the reason why we got bumped out of the playoffs. So now we get a midget? Like, this don't make no dang sense. We should have just went and signed DeMarcus Cousins or something like that. I know Bob Myers says that DeMarcus hits him up all the time. That's why he's not in the NBA. I would take DeMarcus any day of the week, Get a JaVale McGee. I heard his contract is up. And something like that. Bring him back to the Bay. I don't know why we didn't focus on it. But honestly, I feel like we're feeling the void that Bob Myers left. Mike Dunleavy, I don't even know if he's really ready for this role of what he stepped into. And I do think, like Stephen A. hinted that, I don't know if he necessarily wanted the job, but just stepped in to kind of fill it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not looking good. I don't like these moves since Bob Myers left. But that's maybe also why he got up out of there. He knew some hard things and some, hard decisions were coming to be made, and he didn't want to be the bad guy to make them. So he stepped down. But also I know that Joe Lacob, the part owner, or maybe he's the sole owner, I'm not really sure on the terminology there, but I know that he really wants to win. And I know that when we got our first ring, he got himself in the hot water for saying, championships run through the Bay and that we're the gold standard. Mm-hmm. So people was on him. I mean, of course we did rattled off 3 more after that, but I'm just saying, I know that he wants to win, and I can see him doing some cutthroat stuff. Yeah. And Dunleavy's kind of a puppet, and he's the puppet master behind the scene, pulling all the strings. So I can see Joe Lacob doing something like this, because that man does not like losing. I listen to Draymond's podcast, and he says it all the time. Joe Lacob does not like losing. So this postseason really affected them, and maybe that's why we're seeing these kind of crazy moves. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we need another vet. I think we needed a big, because I heard Kuminga's a bit of a knucklehead and he wasn't getting the job done. But either way, we can't fix it. We know that there's probably one more move on the way. Hopefully it's a big, but for now, I mean, I'm never going to root for Chris Paul, but it's going to be a weird dynamic for me as a fan, just watching this season, because it's going to be crazy. I don't even really know what to think. Mm-hmm. But let's move forward a little bit. There has to be some more trades on the way. I think the Warriors aren't done. They did free up some space with that Jordan Poole contract. I haven't heard anything But I hope there's something. I hope it's a big. I hope we have some plan, because as we stand right now, we look the same as last year.
Yeah,
you
look the same. I would expect with the exact same move that you guys made, you would still get to the exact same spot as last year.
Yep.
Or as this past, this season right now.
Yep.
So you do need to get better. The thing is, like I said, is just Chris Paul. He elevates teams, right? Just to put that out there, right? You remember the 2019-2020 season, he had got, like, all of a sudden just shipped to OKC, like he always does, gets moved around. And OKC wasn't really expected to go anywhere nor do anything. And he took that team all the way to the playoffs. So just remember, like, he does make his teammates better, right? So just know that, if there's ever games that are close or somewhat, like, fuzzy, like you don't really know how it's going to go, what the outcome's going to be, like, just know having a guy like him on the team is going to make a difference.
You also mentioned that, like, what were you saying? Chris Paul, because he's on a team with decent players, he won't have to do much. He was just on Phoenix with Booker and Durant.
Yeah, he didn't have
he still got hurt. Yet he
played too many games. Well, yeah, but that's the thing.
What? He can only play one?
Sydney, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I guess he can only play one game.
We're talking about a guy that's 30 at that time, 37 years old. It is extremely challenging to play an 82-game season and then turn around and have to go battle it out and win like 20.
But he had two of the best players in the league. And I don't even say that. I don't even say that sarcastically, because he's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
But he's okay.
Remember,
so then he still
had to force his way there. He wasn't there from the beginning.
But he still had Book, Mikhail, the tall, light-skinned dude. I always forget his name. Sorry, dude. But what's his name?
You talking about
Cameron something Johnson? No, I can't.
Yeah, Cameron Payne.
No, not the little short dude. The tall guy that they traded, but I don't know. But anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. But yeah, so he had good players around him.
Yeah.
And he still was hurt, and he still did the typical Chris Paul season. But, I mean, I know you believe in him a little bit.
Now, here's the thing, right? It seems notorious, and it seems like he does this every year, but technically he doesn't do it every year. So what I'm
and then the other years he gets bounced.
So here's the thing, right? I brought that up to my friend, and he's from New Orleans, so he's a big time AD, and he's also a big time Chris Paul, right? Because they were on the Hornets when it was the Hornets, right? And so he's like, can people stop saying that? Like, check the tape. Like, basically, he don't get hurt every year. So I looked it up, and it's not really every year. It's kind of like every other year, right? So if we're gonna go based off of the track record, that means that come this postseason, he's gonna be fine.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, I'm never gonna believe in it. Like, no matter what facts people run, I don't like Chris Paul. Like, our team don't like Chris Paul.
You got him,
but exactly. So it's like it's happened, and now we have to move forward. Yeah. But I'm never going to understand the trade. I'm never going to like it. We might as well have just stayed the same. But since we did it, I don't know. I think I heard Chris Middleton. We're trying to trade for him. That would be a good pickup for us. Man. But that was like on the rumor board. But other than that, I haven't heard of any moves coming from the Warriors. But we do need one more move. We need one more move because we can't stay the same.
If you got him from the bus, that'd be crazy.
But we'll see. Pivoting though, have you heard anything about your squad? Do we want to close out on a little Laker news here?
They still haven't really said anything. Our who we were supposed to be going after.
Well, LeBron GM is.
We were supposed to be going after. What's his name? We were supposed to be going after CP3, and then look what happened.
Look, y'all act like I want him. You can have him tonight.
I mean, it's too late. He's in now.
But that is crazy though, because I think LeBron is getting to the end of his career, and so is Chris Paul, and I think he still wants to play with his buddy Chris Paul. So it is kind of crazy that it hasn't happened yet. So that means to tell me I feel like LeBron got one more go after this, don't you?
Yeah, no, he do got.
He got about 1 to 2 goes.
I'm just curious who we're gonna bring in now. Is it really gonna be Kyrie? Like, I
mean, that would be great. I mean, Kyrie, he's got to chill, with the antics.
Yeah.
But ain't no doubt that the dude can play. I don't think we've ever, it ain't no doubt. Like, he can hoop, and he's an addition anywhere. Like, if we did that pool for Kyrie, okay, I'm sitting here talking a little differently.
Yeah. So what I really want to see the Lakers do is, like, I want them to be able to keep the team that they already have, but I want them to be able to add, right? So I don't really want any swaps or anything like that, right? Yeah. So if there's somehow we can get a solid guy that ain't afraid to shoot the basketball when it counts, That's who I want on the team,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it would be great to have. I mean, so here's the thing. I don't mind Trae Young. I like the idea of Trae Young.
He in LA right now.
So he gets a lot of assists, but he also gets a lot of turnovers. But the biggest piece is that
leading the league, by the way, turnovers.
Yes, but in both categories, right?
Yeah,
I'm fine with that, right? Turnovers happen. My thing is that when game is on the line, or team is on a 10-0 run, and we're swinging the ball around, and we're all looking at each other like, no, you shoot it, no, you shoot it, no, you shoot it. He ain't afraid to shoot it. That to me was the biggest issue that we had when it came to the Nuggets series, right? At the end of the day, the Nuggets were better, so I say that. But also remember, in every single one of these games, except for game 1, we were winning at some point in time and for a good portion of the time. But every time the Nuggets would come back and run and we needed a bucket and everyone's looking at each other like, well, I'm not going to shoot it. I'm not going to be the one that misses, and then they turn around and score again. Trae Young is coming down like, oh, none of y'all want to shoot it? Letting it fly, right? And usually when he's heat check Trae, ice cold Trae, they're usually going in, right? Like, yeah, he might go 5 for 15 from 3, right? But so does Steph. Right, but the point being is that when you need the timely 3, that one goes in. I don't mind the 10 other misses, right? I need the timely shots to go in. And if the timely shots go in and we play like we've been playing, we're going far, right? And I know it's a hot take because most people are not wanting Trae on the team, right? Dad included. I think a lot of people are wanting, why am I forgetting his name? Over there in Portland, Damian Lillard, right? I know everyone's wanting Damian Lillard Dame time, right? But my thing is like I go by simple math, right? Like, does he hit the big shots? Of course, right? Is he gonna put up 60 a couple nights a year? Of course. But I'm always gonna take a 24-year-old, 25-year-old over a 32-year-old over a 33-year-old, right? Because the ceiling has not been reached yet for a guy like Trae Young, right? Like, that he's still going to have some more big moments in his career, right? And if he's in the right system, right, he's going to continue to develop and really get better and really blossom into who knows what, right? But when you're getting a guy that's 33, 34, he's already reached his ceiling, right? Like, he's not going to sit here and turn around and start giving you 82-game seasons where he's giving you a double-double and, he's taking the teams deep in the playoffs, right? Like, the mileage, the wear and tear in the body has already set, right? At this point in time in his career, he's no longer playing 82-game seasons. He's playing 50, 55, right? And he's playing on bad teams. Now, if he came to our team, like I said, I will root him on. Shout out to all Californians. But the thing is that I just don't see it at this point that it would really work for us. It would getting him would be a limited run, right? It would be this year and next year and maybe one more, right? You get Trae, you're like, next 10 years we're looking to have run after run after run after run. Even if that's LeBron has now left, other guys have left, right? But if you can keep a 1-2 punch with a Trae and a AD. And you just kind of reload the guys around you, keep a Reeves and a Hachimura, that's a solid team. And, for the next 10 years, at least you're in relevancy, right? Like, you'll be in the postseason. I'm not saying you're going to win it and go deep each year, but, you'll be in the postseason.
No, I agree. But one thing about Dame, I don't think he can. I don't think he wants to leave. I think he's happy in Portland, but I also don't think he can now because he's talking so much trash about it's more than the rings. I'm just
torn.
I'm here to play.
He's
like
for sure torn.
I feel like torn. Now he makes that move, everyone will be like, "Man, we told you it was about the rings." So
here's the thing. People aren't going to look at him as a sellout. People are not going to look at him as ring chasing or anything like that because he did his time, right? He's a guy that came in with one team, stayed 12 years, right? He's done 12 complete years with this team, but in the last 2 to 3, they have not been good. You've seen him go on these runs and hit really big shots, right? So it's at this point where you can see that this team is rebuilding, and it sucks for a guy of his caliber and what he means to this team to sit there and watch 5 years of them try to get better. Because 5 years of them trying to get better and winning 25, 30 games, 20 games, 15 games, and now all of a sudden, you know, Dame's 39 and they haven't sniffed the playoffs since, you know, a couple years prior. It's kind of a waste of his youth, right, and all of his good years on that team. And so I think a lot of people see it as not fair, and it's fair to get him out of there. You know, and that like it's not about ring chasing and it's not about loyalty at this point, because you've been loyal, and if you continue to be loyal, you'll never see the playoffs. You know, you'll be like Charles Barkley, right? And so it's like, you know, go somewhere. Go get you one good shot at trying to get it, you know, which is why everyone's saying like go to the Heat and stuff, because then at least you go to the Heat and it's not like crazy, right? Because it's like if he went to the Suns, then yeah, it's like okay. It's a bit much, right? But you go to the Heat and you're really just the number 2 guy after, you know, Jimmy Butler. I mean, that's not necessarily as bad. So I don't think people are going to really see it as ring chase, and I don't really see people are going to see it as like, you know, he's not loyal because he's bought his time, and if he wastes it up, which will happen if he keeps continuing to sit on his hands and is just like, well, I'm gonna stay loyal because it's about this. You're just gonna have a gang of money, a gang of notoriety. Right, and you just never have got to play in the big moment.
Or they could do another smart thing and get some pieces around him, but that's just my take. But
Portland doesn't do that. That's not the type. That's not the type of city.
Well, maybe they need to be that type of city. But another thing, it'll be interesting to be on Dame watch and see what he does. Mm-hmm. Things are heating up, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe that we are just getting started.
For sure.
Quickly touching on Kristaps Porzingis to the Cellies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is Kristaps Porzingis even relevant? But
he's good when he plays.
I'm not really worried about the Celtics.
You don't play enough, though.
The C's, baby.
You don't play enough.
Yeah, good.
That used to be your squad.
Good luck to y'all. Jason Tatum, y'all still think he's him? Go ahead. I mean, Dad said you would say that, but I think he's just another regular season guy. Jaylen Brown, they gave up Smart, which is they gave up their vet.
They gave up Smart, and that wasn't smart.
That we want to keep harping on this vet, but now John Morant's getting a vet. Maybe he can take the gun out of his hand. We don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he's doing up there. But yeah, that's another big move that was made. I don't see the Celtics getting any better, but you know, in due time.
Yeah.
So again, Dame watch, Late Show watch, obviously Warriors watch. Again, sad day for the Dubs, but hopefully there's more moves on the way. And either way, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. It's going to be funny because that's what this trade made me do was laugh. But yeah, Blair, anything else before we get up out of here? All right, thanks for tuning in. I just had to come in and rant a little bit. Y'all know how I get when it's my squad. I had to come in and yell at the screen for a little bit. It is the Slate Laced game. We out.